What's up everyone? So today I'm going to be doing a tutorial on how to install Xbox Kinect on your Windows 8.1 operating system. As in previous tutorials, if you have the program previously installed on your computer, I recommend going and uninstalling it for the sake of this video and reinstalling it and following the guide. Okay? So that's the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and uninstall Xbox Kinect from my computer, and then I'm going to get to the website and reinstall it. Okay, so I'm going to click Start, go to Control Panel. Under Programs, click Uninstall a Program. And now the list of programs will appear. By default, it usually shows up in alphabetical order. If not, just browse your list until you find a XBC 5.1. Okay, make sure you see this. Publisher XB Connect. Alright, so make sure you see this right here, and then once you do, click on it one time and click Uninstall Change. Alright, so this will launch the setup wizard for uninstallation. Leave it automatic and click Next and click Finish. It'll uninstall the program from the computer. This will only take a few moments. Once the program is uninstalled from the computer completely, it will disappear from your programs list, and at this point we can go ahead and close this window out. Okay, now we're going to go to the Xbox Connect website to where we can download the program and also register an account. So open up your favorite web browser. In my case it's going to be Google Chrome, and go to xbconnect.com. Alright, so xbconnect.com. Okay, and once you arrive here, look towards your left side of the screen and click the Downloads tab under Site Navigation. And for the sake of this video, I'm going to pick the skinless installer. Okay, you can pick the skin installer, but for this video I'm going to be doing the skinless. The difference is that the skin, I believe, you can kind of theme out the program, while the skinless you can't. As it states, the skinless is for mid-low end PCs, and the skin is for high-end. So it's really your preference. All right, so for this, I'm going to click here and download that. I've already downloaded the program, so I'm not going to download it again. But make sure that you do download it to your computer. Alright, another thing, right below here, it says if you receive an MPP Tools error at startup or you can't find your Xbox, which means that Xbox Connect cannot detect your Xbox, you need to install a newer version of Winpcap. So once we do that, we're going to go ahead to the winpcap.org website and make sure that we have the latest version, which as of this video is 4.1.3 installed on your computer. Okay, so this should finish. It's only in 3.1 megs as of this video, so it should be done relatively quick. So we're gonna go ahead and first we're gonna register an account while we're on this website. So scroll back up to the top and click the register button. It's gonna ask for your date of birth, so make sure to input all those fields here. I think with Xbox Connect, they require you to be at least 13 years of age according to their terms of service, so make sure that you fit their terms of service correctly. Check the TOS box and click register. And at this point, fill in your username, your password, confirm your password, your email that you want to use. A difference between this and Xlink, if you've watched those Xlink videos, is that you can't use pretty much any email address. If you don't see the email pop up in your primary email inbox, make sure to check your spam folder before assuming that they never sent it. That happens a lot, especially with these programs, because they're being flagged for spam mainly because they're not entirely heavily used. I suppose I'm not 100% on that, but make sure to check your spam folder before assuming that the email never went or came to your email box. All right, and do the image verification, all that good stuff. Pretty much once you get to here, you're pretty much good. Once you get to the security question, answer that. And at this point, you're pretty much good. If you have refer, do all that. Set your time zone, your emails, and uh, if you want, you could go ahead and make sure you put your Xbox Connect gamer tag, which is going to be your username on the program, and then complete registration. Once you do that, you will receive that email either in your inbox or in your spam folders, depending on your email provider that you're using. All right, so make sure to go ahead into your favorite email now at this point. Check for that registration link and make sure to click on it so that you can get your account verified and ready to go for Xbox Connect. Okay, now earlier I mentioned Winpcap. For those of you who may have it or used Xlink Kai previously, you may already have this installed. For those of you who do not, or you just want to go along for the sake of the video, let's make sure that we have this installed because this is an extremely important program that needs to be on your computer. Without Winpcap, you cannot find your Xbox. Matter of fact, I had an issue where your network adapters wouldn't even be displayed if you didn't have it on your computer. So this is really important that you have Winpcap on your computer. So we're going to go to winpcap.org. And once you get to Winpcap, click the Download Get Winpcap button. Very first button you see. And once you get there, make sure it's version 4.1.3 as of this video. It might be later, but make sure you get the latest version, this is always going to be the latest version. And click Install from Windows. And once that installs, we're going to go ahead and launch that launcher. Okay, so if you're using Chrome, down here you should see a download box up here. I'm going to go ahead and install just for the case, download it just in the case of having it show up. You should see this right here. You can click on this if you're in Google Chrome to launch. I think Firefox has a similar element too, that you can quickly launch the program through a download box below. Okay, so you can do that, or you can minimize your window and go to your downloads folder by default and search for the program there. Alright, so here's my Winpcap, and we're going to go ahead and install that. Now, I've already installed mine. The installation is going to be a little different for me since I already have my computer. But walk through the steps. It's showing me a few clicks to install the Winpcap driver so that Xbox Connect will work properly on your computer. Alright? Okay. So once you have Winpcap installation complete, at this point, we're pretty much good to go with Xbox Connect. So we need to go ahead and launch the installer at this point. So I want to go back to my downloads folder and find xbc instantc underscore 512.exe. Alright? We're going to install that. And this is the main program needed for Xbox Connect. So once we get to the setup, I'm going to click Next. Accept the license agreement that it comes with. Click Next. At this point, if you want to use the default directory, you can. If you're on a 64-bit platform, it will default to program files x86. If you're on a 32-bit Windows, it will default to just program files. But by default, I'm just going to say what the default that it's using. Alright, and this will just ask you to change the naming in your start menu. I'll just leave it by default XBC. Now, it asks you to install a packet driver. Now, we've already done the Winpcap driver installation. So I'm just going to hit the radio for use Winpcap driver. And then it's going to ask if you want to install it now. Now, we've already just did the installation, so we can we can just skip this part. So we're going to uncheck this box and click Next. Now, for some reason, if you did not install it, I believe, I'm not 100%, but I believe this checkbox, if it's checked and you click Next, it should default to opening up the web page to Winpcap. But I'm not 100% certain. It might be an automated process. But for the sake of you having the latest version, make sure to install it from the website directly and just leave this box unchecked. Alright, after that, we're going to click Next. Alright, so now the program is being installed to the computer. It should only take usually probably under a minute to do. It's really not a big program. Okay, and now you create your shortcuts. I'm not going to really work by desktop, but pick your own on this part. Click Next, and now it's been successfully installed. And I'm going to start it. So I'm going to leave this box checked, and I'm going to click Finish so that it launches the program right off the bat. Okay. Okay. All right. So now we're greeted with the proper use. I agree to these terms of agreement, and I'm also at least 13 years of age. Click OK after that, and now you're presented with Xbox Connect. It talks about what Xbox Connect is. It's a pretty simple program, and like I said, we're going into detail about how to use it, at least how to get the functionality of it done. All right, so let's click OK on here. And if you already created an account like we did earlier, you do not need to create an account now. Okay, so click no. If you don't have an account or missed that part, click yes. Alright, so now it's going to ask you for your account information. So I'm going to go ahead and put mine on in there. And since this is a private computer, I'm probably the main one using it. I'm going to hit remember my password. I feel safe enough for that. So I'm going to log in now. And once you log into Xbox Connect, you'll be presented with the main general chat along with a list of games, which at the moment Halo 2 is probably going to be the most active game since the Master Chief Collection got announced. And then to your right, you're going to see your buddies and recent players. This actually populates every time you join a lobby automatically for you. And buddies is aka your friends list. I think on here you can pretty much just right click on a person's name and hit add buddy, and that pretty much just automatically adds to the list. And the global chat will display the usernames that are online on Xbox Connect. Okay. All right. So mine's still connecting to chat server. I'm not really too sure why it's taking so long, but that's okay. All right. So now we're going to talk about how to connect and get your Xbox up and running to play System Link games. So we're going to be talking about Halo 2. Since that's probably the main reason for this video, most people are probably watching. So the first things first, we're going to click Tools, then go down to Options, and then hit General Options. And now it's going to give you a list of information here. It's going to give you your max Xbox connections, which just mean how many Xboxes you want connected to your host. If you plan on hosting games, your public IP, which is just your internet IP. The rest of this stuff you could probably just leave blank. Okay, this is the main hub right here that we want to look at. XPC is aware of these consoles. Um, when you tend to find your Xboxes, you would want to use the find button here. You can use tools find my console. It pretty much does the exact same thing, but the main difference between using that and this that I've noticed is that if you have more than one Xbox on your private network, which means let's say you have yourself and a friend um, hooked up to your same router or hub or switch, and you guys both want to play on Xbox Connect together with other players, this would be the ideal spot to do it. When you click Find, it will actually populate both MAC addresses of your Xboxes, which is how XPC determines your Xboxes anyways to forward packets to. And doing so, Find will allow you to display your console and your buddy's console as well if you have a friend who's wanting to go under the same connection. All right. So at this point, click Find. Go ahead and leave all your adapters checked. Most of the time, they don't really display by just regular names, so just leave them all checked and have them scanned. And then it's going to say Find your console. At this point, it's scanning all my adapters, Ethernet, wireless, and all my other adapters that's on my computer to find my Xbox. Now, at this point, you will need to have your Xbox, or in this case, Halo 2, um, in System Link, and at the part where it says available games, create a new game. Once you get there, leave it alone and let it scan, because that's the only time XBC will pick up your Xbox is if it's in System Link mode. Okay, so once that happens, it should come up with 100%, and then it should populate the console MAC address here. All right. Okay, so at this point, um, the reason why you don't see mine come up is because I actually don't have mine hooked up directly to my Xbox at the moment. But you will see a MAC address pop up. Don't worry. At this point, once that MAC address does populate into this field, click OK. And now you're pretty much good to go to join hosts. Okay, so just a rundown with joining hosts. If you plan on joining the game, make sure that for one you check the ping. For Halo 2, being a shooter game, it's a recommend of being at least 150 or under. 178 is really not too bad. It's probably gonna be a little lag, but probably not gonna be bad either. Check all the stats between what the hosts provide. The box means the number of Xboxes that they are allowed to connect, how many players that are actually in the game, and how many players that are actually in the XBC lobby. The type is if they want to put like a game type listings, like for this guy, he has an FFA, so he's running FFA games on Halo 2. The live content means that they are requiring DLC for Halo 2, which means the basically all the DLC from the multiplayer map pack disc. And the location, if they have that populated, and a little bit extra info. This guy's doing free for alls 24/7, so that's definitely room to go to if you want to free for all it up. Anyway, so if you notice all that, you're pretty much good to go. The stars represent reputation, Xbox Connect reputation. Not really too sure on why or how this really works. One thing to note: if you see someone with an FW in the ping, it means firewall. This means that there is an issue, more than likely with your connection or with a host connection, to where their firewall is blocking your connection to them, which is causing you not to be able to ping their distance. Um, if you have a firewall game, you may want to ask the host to see if he can port forward his router in order to open up the ports to lower the firewall. Some of these games already have that done. I can see several of these games. I might need a port forward, and it would be a good idea for you to port forward for this program. So, in order to do so, you will need to go to your router's web gateway, which you'll need to consult your router's manual or website to get to, and search for the port forwarding or virtual server section on your router, and you would want to port forward port 8602 UDP and TCP to your to your internal host, which in this case will be your computer's IP address. Now, this is only to improve the sake of joining games. A lot of times you could join several games without really needing it, but this is actually a requirement for hosting games down here. Okay, so if you're trying to host a game, you will need a port forward. Definitely. If we're trying to join a game, it is not 100% required, but it may help connect to more games. So, if you're wanting to host a game, you're going to need to, for one, you're going to need to have your console phone, as it just told me. But you're going to need to go to your router, and you need to make sure that in the port forwarding or virtual server section, make sure that ports 8602, TCP and UDP, or in some of them they'll say both. Make sure that those ports are forwarded to your computer's IP address. Okay? So to check your computer's IP address, click Start, type CMD, and then press Enter. You'll see a cmd.exe. Alright, and once you get here, just type ipconfig, and it will list all your active network adapters that are currently doing anything. So since I'm going to do the preferred hookup approach to using my Xbox Ethernet into my computer directly, I'm going to need to use my wireless LAN card to connect to the internet. So in this case, my private IPv4 address, make sure you look for this especially, the IPv4 address of my computer is this right here. So this is what I would need to forward on the port forwarding virtual server section of your router to. So basically on there it will look like port 8602 TCP and UDP to 192.168, whatever your IPv4 address is. Make sure you have that because your computer needs to be set up to be targeted for port forwarding. If not, you may have issues hosting. Okay? Alright. So that's pretty much it, guys. That's pretty much the rundown of Xbox Connect. Once you have your console found, you should be able to join lobbies and be able to connect the host. If you get a little red dot, this little red dot like I have on this person right here, that means that you won't be able to fully connect to them, and there's probably a firewall issue again. I'm not too sure what the lightning bolt stands for. And this is the padlock. Definitely means that the game is passworded. So I hope this video helps you be able to set up Xbox Connect. It's a little lengthy. I just want to go into detail with a couple things to be able to help you guys understand a little bit of the interface of the program and how to set up for hosts. But for hosts, is definitely going to take a little bit more to do to be able to join games. It shouldn't be a lot of problems. If you run into issues, even with port forwarding after and still having issues connecting to people or having issues hosting, you may need to contact your internet service provider, and you may need to make sure that your Windows firewall or whatever firewall program you're using has Xbox Connect added to the exemptions list. Because if it's not added to exemptions list or whitelist, then the program will be blocked from communication, and you'll probably have a lot more firewall show up or FW show up under the ping section. All right. Okay, guys. So thanks for tuning in and watch this video. Let me know if you have any issues with the comments below, and I hope this works out for helping you install XPC. All right, guys. Have a great day.